Buying tickets to sports and concerts can be way too complicated, but there is a better, simpler way to buy. SeatGeek is the smartest, easiest way to get tickets to live events. And right now, get a $20 rebate on your first purchase. Just download the SeatGeek app and enter promo code J&J today.
And now, Jalen and Jacoby on ESPN Radio.
When I pop the trunk, head the deck. Y'all pop the trunk, I pop the hood.
Now act stupid, I'll pop the trunk. Give me your boom, boom, boom.
He is Jalen Rose.
What up, though?
I am David Jacoby.
And on the cool check-in.
And we...
Center stage on the mic.
And we putting it on wax.
And we are Jalen and Jacoby. What do we do?
We give the people what they want.
So we always put a little exclusive content in the front of the podcast before we get into the television content for our podcast listeners that we love so much. But today we're going to peel back the curtain a little bit and just thank the staff. I want to thank the Jalen and Jacoby staff. We've been taping very early out here in Los Angeles, which means everybody has to get up at like 3 in the morning, and they're all tired, and we work on the show the night before, and it's been a pretty long run here in ESPN2. Quick programming note, we've been taking off our 2 p.m. time slot. We're back at 2 a.m. where we belong. You know? We're back where we belong. The truth of the matter is this was always the plan, this was just going to be a fill-in spot for us for a while to give us a little trial run. So it's not like anyone made a decision to take us off. But it is sad to see us this time come to a close. Hasn't it been nice to be on during the day, Jalen Rose?
Oh, man, we should continue to deliver the show the exact same time. The exact same way.
So what do I say every time you say that?
You got to speak it into existence.
What do I say every time you say that? Is that it's easy for you to say because you're not the one waking up at 3 in the morning to make the show happen. You're just showing up at tape time,
2 minutes
bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, being like, okay, guys, what's the show today? And the whole staff has been working on it for 3 hours up to that point. But
we have the best staff in the business. We appreciate you, and we appreciate all of our supporters because we know the ratings was up in that time slot.
They had to be up. They had to. I mean, come on. You put us on there with you and your goatee, ratings got to go up.
Absolutely. The second most handsome duo at the network behind
Tony and Mike. But we're coming. And I also want to say this is because we care about our podcast listeners so much. One thing that has been nice with being on television earlier in the day is we put the podcast out early in the day. We do not take it for granted that is an important thing for your day and your commute and your routine, and we love being part of your routine, so we will continue to try to get the podcast out earlier, even if it means the podcast content comes out before the TV content. That's fine with me. We just won't tell executives that we're doing that. I don't think they'll care, right? Like, they're not listening to the podcast. The executives might watch the TV show in their office with the sound off, but they're definitely not listening to the podcast. This is just us here in the podcast room.
We need our podcast followers to tell a friend to tell a friend. We need to get those numbers up, too.
Okay. Jalen Rose. The Patriots are not just Super Bowl champions. They now own 2 planes. The Patriots went out. They're done chartering flights from other companies. They bought their own planes. They decked them out. They put 5 Lombardi trophies on the back. What do you think about the Patriots now owning planes?
This is the wave of the future because owners are now making more money. It's clearly the NFL and the NBA in particular are making more money. An owner buying a plane and us talking about it all day is almost laughable to me.
Why is that?
Because that's an equivalent of a player buying a car.
Okay. But the player doesn't save money when they buy a car. That's the difference. Like, the economics of this is they will actually save money from chartering planes. It's just like a sound strategic move. You will see in the future, not only will every franchise have multiple planes, there'll be this sort of like plane keep up with the Joneses contest where they have to be decked out better. There's going to be like Josh Rosen. They're going to put hot tubs inside the planes. They're going to put training rooms inside the planes. There's going to be multiple planes. In the future, teams will have 4 or 5, a fleet of planes, one for the players and one for the media and one for all of this. One thing about me, though, if I'm going to own a plane and I'm the New England Patriots, I'm definitely going to paint it better than this. That plane looks too normal. I want to see the old Patriot logo on the side. I want to see celebrating Tom Brady. I want to see photos. I want it to look cool. And from the bottom, I want it to have the score of the Super Bowl at the halftime. So when you look up at it, you're like, oh, man, they really came back from that. That's what I would do if I was the Patriots. This is big news. The second I saw this news, I thought about you, Jalen Rose. This is one of those I have to talk to Jalen about this moment. Now, some of you might not be familiar with Jalen Rose's dietary habits. They basically consist of lobster in any way, shape, or form as often as possible, and what we call the Eatos diet. Jalen Rose, before every show, make sure he has at least 2 bags of Eatos. Eatos are Fritos, Doritos, or Cheetos, or taquitos, or anything else that ends in Eatos. What are you going to interject and say, Mr. Rose?
That's when better-made products aren't present.
Okay.
Please continue.
Okay. Well, there's a restaurant opening in New York City just for you and others on the Eatos-only diet. There is a Cheetos-themed fine dining restaurant opening in New York City. All these menu items they have. Wait, why are you making this face? You're the Eatos guy. What's the problem here?
What's on the menu?
There's mac and Cheetos, Cheetos quesadillas, various different potato dishes with Cheetos. They've got Cheeto burritos. They've got Cheetos everything. Basically anything you've ever wanted to eat with a little bit of a Cheetos twist at this restaurant.
See, I go to chips to make myself think I'm not eating a lot of cheese and a lot of salt when I actually am.
You know what's in the chips, right?
Correct.
Okay.
I don't now want to quadruple down and eat more mac and cheese just to get Cheetos. Now, I am going to go to the restaurant, though. I can't front. I'm going to that restaurant.
I know you're going to go to the restaurant.
I'm going to that restaurant.
Yes, I know you are.
It's a unique theme. It's a great idea, and it shows how this brand has been able to make so much money over a long period of time, and I'm clearly a supporter.
One thing I think that you could add to this restaurant that you've added to my life is the Eatos smoothie, where you break them all up and drink them like a drink. I don't know if it's on the menu yet, but it should be, and they should call it the Jalen Rose.
You don't want to get them on your hand, all the cheese on your hands.
No. Well, the next story is extremely important. There was a bear in Colorado. This bear went to a house, broke into the car while the family was sleeping, stole the car, crashed the car, and then pooped inside the car. Jalen Rose, imagine you are sleeping soundly at night with your wave cap on, just tossing and turning with your do-rag flap tied up so it doesn't choke you. And then you find out someone's stealing your car, so you run outside with your baseball bat, and you see that it is a bear that has stolen your car. What do?
First off, I got insurance. So
That's what I'm saying. I
911.
got car insurance. Like, whatever. I'm not even calling 911.
I'm not trying to get as close probably as this individual was to take actual footage. This reminds me of like how me and you would behave in a scary movie. When you hear a sound in the basement, you're like, where's the flashlight? And I'm like, we're moving. The other thing is people underestimate the intelligence of bears and how quickly they're able to adapt to surroundings and things they've been exposed to.
And don't underestimate this. If it wasn't a Subaru, the bear wouldn't have pooped in it. You know what I mean? The bear was like, I thought this was a luxury vehicle. I thought this was a nice neighborhood. I'm definitely pooping in this now.
You know what I mean? I'm comfortable.
It's comfortable.
Leather seats.
Yeah, just wanted to enjoy himself a little bit.
But did he sit in it still?
Yeah, of course. Jalen, not only are you on this program, you're also on many other programs on the ABC family of networks, one of which is called To Tell the Truth. There's a very interesting episode you appeared on lately that I have questions about. Let's watch a sample.
One of these people is one of the world's fastest rappers and the only person who has been sworn to tell the truth. All right? Jalen, the questions are going to start with you.
Contestant number 1, under what premise did you guys do the fastest rapper competition?
Took place like at school, like on the playground. Me and my homeboy, we both rap fast, so they always wanted to know who rap fastest out of both of them.
Will the real rapid rapper please stand up?
Jalen, did you spend the whole time pretending like you didn't know who Twista was? Did you lie to the people?
You're not about to have me getting emails from Rob Mills and from Anthony Anderson. Here's what I will say, however. I was struggling at that point of the game. I needed to get a point. And I felt really confident in my answer, but I think it's not a surprise that the two people that got it right were me and Donald Faison.
I wonder why. I wonder how that worked out. Let's move on. The Jazz, Daryl Arthur, was feeling himself in the new Nuggets. They've got Paul Millsap. They were excited, just getting excited about their new uniforms and everything. And he said that they were in a position to compete with Golden State in the West. Is that a positive test?
Absolutely, that's a failed test.
That's failed
test. As soon as he shows up at Denver Nuggets training camp and all of the players walk through the line, they should just say, "You're excused. Here's your paperwork.
Yeah, here it is.
You're already
You're in the program.
Yeah,
you're not in the program."
Because this comment lacks intellectual integrity. Like, seriously. We clearly know that the Denver Nuggets have the opportunity to be a playoff team.
They might compete to be in the playoffs, to compete against the Golden State Warriors and lose because they'll be the 8th seed. That's what they're competing for right now.
Your next test, Mr. Arthur, that's going to be 5 games.
Exactly. Moving on. Forbes comes out with another list. They always comes out with lists. Their list this time was of DJs. And Calvin Harris is the highest paid DJ for the 5th year straight. From June to June, he made $48.5 million. I have a very simple question for you. Do you know who Calvin Harris is?
I don't, and I need to be a better student of my craft. I always talk to people about what they want to do and understanding everything, the ins and outs of that industry. I should know who he is. He should be my idol.
I got to be honest. I don't really know who he is either. I think he dated Taylor Swift, and that's why I know who he is.
I know who DJ Scratch is.
Daddy, where do babies come from?
Honey?
Mommy went to the store.
Oh, well, you see, there's a mommy and a daddy, right?
Right.
And see, when they call Geico, they could save a bunch of money on car insurance.
Oh, really? And that makes them happy?
Yes, that makes them very happy.
That's good.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad we could have this talk, sunshine.
Geico, because saving 15% or more on car insurance is always a great answer.
Josh Rosen, promising quarterback for the UCLA Bruins, had something very interesting to say. One of those things that once he says it, he's got to know that people like us are going to run with it for miles and miles and miles. He said, quote, "Football and school don't go together." Jalen Rose, does he have a point?
Young fella, I got to get you a Biggie Smalls album. Once he said something that was so poetic, it sticks to my mind. When he said, "Money and blood don't mix." Like, let's
not explain what he said next.
The point is, it's unfortunate that basketball players and football players in particular are charged with leaving high school and, in a lot of cases, quote unquote, being forced to go to college in order to pursue their professional goals. But since that is what the rule is, it's a Herculean task to make it to the NFL, but it's also a daunting task to graduate from college. And so those dual efforts are what's required. Yes, it's really something tough to endure, but it is being done by multiple people, and that's what it's going to take for those that not only want to be successful on the football field, but actually hope to graduate from college.
So there is that one poll quote that we're all going to talk about, school and football don't go together. But he also had some other things to say that were a little bit more interesting. Quote, "Football really dents my ability to take some classes that I need. There are a bunch of classes that are only offered one time. There was a class this spring I had to take, but there was a conflict with spring football." Which leads to a sort of bigger question. Are student athletes really athlete students?
I don't like the term student athlete because in theory, you're an athlete, but in a lot of cases, you're being forced to be a student. And that's where it goes back to, in particular in basketball, with the entire one-and-done scenario. In football, it's a three-and-done scenario. A lot of people, ultimately, if they didn't have to go to college to play football, they wouldn't do so. But in the United States now, a high school diploma just doesn't get you what it used to. So now, in most professions, college becomes the ultimate requirement to put on your resume. And in this case, It's unusual, but sports has now done that in basketball and football.
So here's one thing I want everybody to consider while they're talking about this topic or reading about this topic. Let's consider the source. The source is Josh Rosen, quarterback for UCLA, who also once put a hot tub in his dorm room. I can't tell if this is the smartest or the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Putting a hot tub inside your dorm room, soft move or boss move.
That's a boss move.
Oh, I disagree. I disagree. Soft move. Let me tell you why. You and I belong to the same gym. You go to the hot tub area in the gym. It smells like hot tub. Hot tubs are smelly. You know what I mean? You got to use a lot of filtering, a lot of chemicals to keep it clean, a lot of energy. I just feel like they turned into a smelly dorm room. That's all. Smelly.
You're thinking like a responsible adult, not like a fun-loving college kid on campus with a hot tub in your room. Oh, man, the activities that come to mind are endless.
What comes to mind, Mr. Rose?
Don't get fired.
Okay, I will not. We'll move on. Tim Kawakami, now of The Athletic, was on Tim Bontemps' podcast, and he said like a sneaky little low-key thing, because Kawakami is pretty connected with the Warriors. That is very interesting. He said not to be surprised if the Warriors made an earnest run at adding, wait for it, Paul George to the team when he's a free agent next season. What is your initial reaction when you hear this?
My initial reaction is what's going to happen with Klay Thompson when he becomes a free agent, because in theory they play the same position as it would be as it relates to the Golden State Warriors in theory.
Yep.
His contract is up in 2 seasons. And so basically, is that an initial thought process, if we can't get to the money that we hope to pay Klay, that we're willing to give it to Paul George? I'm going to say what I've said about the situation a handful of years ago when I was doing interviews about them breaking up the Splash Brothers for Kevin Love. They should not do it. Because here's one thing that people underestimate about Klay Thompson. And I know they have to lose the salary of Iguodala and lose the salary of Livingston.
To make this work, to take a lot of salary adjustments. We
no
get that.
doubt. And also, you gut the depth of your team also, and the cohesion that they've established, and the championship pedigree that they've all earned together. But here's something that people underestimate about Klay Thompson. This gentleman scored 60 points and barely dribbled the ball. At some point, you're going to need people that can play without the ball. And each night, guess what also he does? Guards the best shooting or point guard on the other team. And when you look around the league, that's almost every night on a contending team. So in theory, this may sound like a grand idea. I like the Warriors the way they're constituted for the next handful of years or so going forward. And I like Paul George and OKC. Let's not try to now pull somebody else away from Russell Westbrook? If y'all think that's going to happen? Y'all think Russell Westbrook was mad last year?
Don't do it to Russ. He's
going
to average a quintuple-double.
Quadruple-double. You know what I'm saying? Y'all take another player
Russ
from
has
him.
been emotionally scarred enough, man. He's a new father. Leave Russ alone. Let him have some good things, okay? Please. Well, it seems like the NBA is trying to give some good things to their media partners. They have adjusted the schedule with an eye on reducing some of the wear and tear of the players and also reducing some of those rest games, especially when it comes to, nationally televised games that their partners pay a lot of money for. Do you think these schedule adjustments will appease the NBA's media partners?
I think they do. But more importantly than the media partners, the fans who purchase tickets, whether on a nightly basis and season tickets, and the players are advertised to be performers, and all of a sudden you show up and they're on the sideline in civilian clothes. That's just bad for the entire product all the way down. It becomes you're marketing something that you're not delivering to the fans, and that can be tricky going forward, especially for a multi-billion-dollar conglomerate. So this totally makes sense, and I applaud Adam Silver for being a forward thinker.
So let's take a look at some of exactly what this means. This means no 4 games in 5-day stretches. That's been his problem for years now. A big reduction to the amount of 5 games in 7-day stretches. 40 fewer back-to-back games this upcoming season than last season. And more weekend games even during football season. With all of these changes, there's no downside, right? Is there any reason that this could be bad?
There's no downside. You also start the season a week earlier. And again, for people who love the NBA, you got to remember this too. We only think about how it affects the great players. So LeBron performing from October through June, the middle of June. But don't underestimate the fact that teams that don't make the playoffs, their season is over in April.
Yes.
So they get plenty of rest.
They haven't played in a while.
No question. From April 15th approximately to October 15th, they're not playing NBA
That's half of the
basketball
year.
games.
Half of the year.
That's half of the year. That's plenty of rest. But here's something that's going to kind of disappoint you.
What's that?
What this doesn't account for is the individual team and their analytics and the player who still is going to find reasons and ways to rest.
Oh, for sure. Oh, they're still resting. You think Popovich is going to stop resting players? Like, come on. Now, you think if LeBron wants to take a weekend off and go hang out with Dwayne Wade, he's not going to take a weekend off and go hang out with Dwayne Wade? Like, this isn't going to solve the problem, but it's at least showing that they're taking steps to attempt to solve the problem.
And what it also shows is we've taken the first step, NBA teams and NBA players, to appease the fact that you wanted to have those rest days throughout the season. So now when you rest, and it's a nationally televised game, and or it's a situation where we now feel that you're cheating the fans, those teams are going to start getting fined. That's what's coming next.
Jalen, Floyd Mayweather sat with our colleague, Stephen A. Smith, and basically kind of lied to sell the fight. Let's listen.
He's a lot younger. You know, when you look at the two on paper, when you look at myself and you look at Conor McGregor, on paper, he's taller, has a longer reach, he's a bigger man from top to bottom. A lot younger, so youth is on his side, and I've been off a couple years. So, and now I'm in my 40s. So, you know, if you look at everything on paper, it leans towards Conor McGregor.
Jalen Rose, does Floyd really believe that, or is he just trying to make people think it's going to be a competitive fight?
Don King and Bob Arum like, good job, Floyd.
Yeah,
Good job, Floyd.
Come on.
I got to tell you some numbers that he didn't mention that are the most important ones. You ready for them?
Oh, okay.
Floyd has 49 professional fights.
Exactly.
And Conor McGregor has zero.
So if you do actually look at the tail of the tape, like if you on paper, let's look at it on paper. The age, like, okay, advantage Conor McGregor. All right, the height, advantage Conor McGregor. Weight, advantage Conor McGregor. Reach, advantage Conor McGregor. One thing Floyd forgot, though, is they always include record. You know? They always include record. And if you look at it on paper, I would say, you know what? Floyd Mayweather has the edge. I know you're doing a great job selling the fight. You know, so's the sparring partner saying that he hits hard, and so's everybody. This is great. We're all going to buy the fight, Floyd. You don't need to lie to us, okay? We're buying the fight regardless. We know you're going to win, Floyd. It's okay. We're buying the fight anyway.
In the media, we call that burying the lead. He gave all of the information except the most important thing. And the other thing that he left out is the fact that he's going to make a lot more money for a reason.
Yes. Here's the thing I want to say, though. According to Floyd, there's $300 million going to Floyd. Let's just take that for what it is. According to Floyd, there's $100 million going to McGregor. If I was involved, I would say, all right, there's got to be a way for us to do this again. I want to make another $300 million. Is that enough of a reason for Floyd to make this feel more competitive while the fight is going on and they sort of winning a decision or something?
See, this is one of those games that people play that Floyd won't.
Okay.
He ain't about to get in there and make it look like Conor McGregor had a shot,
so they can get a rematch,
of controversy, so they can fight again.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking.
No, he gonna get all of the money the first time around. Yeah. He ain't playing those games.
Yeah.
He gonna make sure that he scrape up all of the money off of the floor, leaves no trail behind, and drops the mic, literally. Drops the gloves in the ring and retire and go off into the sunset.
Well,
Floyd Mayweather, I got a business proposition. After this fight, the money team bank. Because seriously, he's selling us on this fight $300 million, and they should mass produce the Harriet Tubman 20s.
I have a business proposition for Floyd Mayweather after this fight. Pay your taxes. That's all. Just pay your taxes. Just pay your taxes. Everyone knows how much money you're making on this fight. All right? Just pay your taxes. It's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. Moving on to John Wall. He's got some taxes to pay. He just signed a 4-year, $170 million extension with the Wizards. On that contract, he said, quote, "My kids kids should be fine. Jalen Rose, take us behind the curtain. What does that realization feel like as a professional athlete?
John Blaze out to get loot like John Cash.
Okay.
And he's earned it. Here's how that works. You literally change the dynamics of your family, the root of it, by initially growing up living probably in the city. Now all of a sudden, your family lives in the suburbs. So you immediately lift the quality of life of what they're exposed to, the schools they attend, the friends that they get a chance to get to know, being more cultured and a lot more diverse, being able to purchase anything you want. That's an ultimate thing that people wish that they could have that honor. And to be able to pursue your goal and your dream and have everybody share it with you while you get a chance to invest in theirs as well, that's an ultimate thing. It's a beautiful feeling. It's something that while we celebrate sports, it often gets lost, which is why I want to bury certain terms like bust. Because when I see Darko doing an interview, he was in a mansion. I was looking like, he didn't look like a bust to me.
He's got a bust of himself in the background.
He looked like he was investing that money pretty well. Maybe he was a flop. This is how people should look at it. They're a great artist, but sometimes they don't always have great albums. We don't say that that person's a bust. We say that album was a flop. So when you're in a position like John Wall, an athlete or an entertainer or whatever the profession is, and you're literally able to elevate the quality of life for not only your family but your friends and the people around you, it changes the dynamics and creates a legacy for years to come for a family and a name. It's a beautiful thing.
Someone who's been considered a bust or a flop, and perhaps unfairly, is one of my favorite basketball players, Michael Beasley. Michael Beasley has just signed a one-year veteran approximately $2.1 million contract with the New York Knicks. Is this an indication that they are definitely going to trade Carmelo Anthony?
2.1 in New York City? Oh, man, where's he going to live?
Outer borough.
It does not signify the end of Carmelo Anthony in New York.
Okay.
And a lot of people who may want him to go may have the same thought process that you endured, but the Knicks aren't trading Carmelo. He's going to trade the Knicks. He has a no-trade clause. And so, therefore, when can I get to Houston? That's what this is really all about. I'm not trying to go run behind LeBron at the Cavs and be a sixth man, but I'm telling you, people sleep on OKC. That would be a good look for Melo. Boogie, OKC. Good look to go join PG and Russell Westbrook. This does not signal the end for Carmelo in New York City because they added Michael Beasley.
What stage of the NBA drug program do you think Michael Beasley is in at this point?
He
graduated masters, summa cum laude. He's
you know how it is when you at the spot and they start cutting on the lights and they start saying this hollow term. Last call. Be easy. Keep getting them checks.
There is a new member of the minivan mafia. TMZ cameras found Jimmy Butler in Malibu. They were asking him questions about this and that. And as he got into his vehicle, he made a joke about not knowing who Kyrie Irving is and then shut the door of what certainly looks like a minivan. Now, as one of the founding fathers of the minivan mafia, I just want to share that there is a special place amongst the mafia ranks for those that have the courage and the strength and the logistical know-how to drive a minivan without any kids. Then that is someone who respects the minivan experience. If you drive a minivan and you don't have kids, that means you understand the extra space, the comfortable ride, the screens that come with it, the outlets. The people that are part of the minivan mafia that do not have children, those are my people. Welcome, Jimmy Butler, to the ranks of the minivan mafia. Jalen, are you going to start driving a minivan?
Absolutely not.
Why not?
Here's the other thing, though. We know that we shouldn't have favorites in this industry. All I know is this. When I go over Jacoby's house again,
Jimmy Butler jerseys,
Jimmy Butler jerseys
posters,
everywhere.
Jimmy Butler everything. I'm going to grow my hair out, try to style it like Jimmy Butler's. I don't know how that's going to work, but I am definitely picking the Minnesota Timberwolves to win the NBA championship this year because Jimmy Butler drives a minivan. Remember where you heard it first. Minnesota Timberwolves, NBA champions here on Jalen and Jacoby.
That counts as a failed drug test.
Guaranteed championship. Jimmy Butler.
See, you so excited.
Welcome
Look at that.
to the Minivan Mafia. Jalen Rose, let's give the people what they want. Every Wednesday on Jalen and Jacoby, we celebrate the more intelligent, more responsible, more mature, and kinder gender of our species, the women, with Woman Crush Wednesday.
More intelligent, more disciplined,
will
more responsible.
Be the all-women segment here. Let's listen to our first female caller.
Hey, guys. It's Ingrid from Toronto. I listen to you every day on my way to work, and I love that you're always giving the people what they want. I started listening to you guys on my own. I don't think it takes a man to bring a girl to like sports. Anyway, as a person, I want to know, who are these sources that everyone keeps talking about in the NBA? Like, are they staff members? Is it just like a player's second cousin Gerald or something? I was always wondering. Thanks for taking my call. Have a great Women Crush Wednesday.
Jalen Rose, are the sources in the NBA a second cousin named Gerald?
Big shout, Ingrid. Thanks for the call. Go to OVO Fest this weekend. Stand up, T-Dot. Unnamed sources happen a few different ways. And I'm going to pull you guys behind the curtain.
Take us behind the curtain.
Sometimes it's a player who doesn't want to be revealed when the topic is about him. Sometimes it's a player that doesn't want to be revealed when the topic is about someone else that's being discussed. And get ready for this one. It could be an agent. It could be a manager. It could be a family member, but you're going to appreciate this last one. Sometimes it's a media member using the fact that they can say an unnamed source told me something when they really want to take a shot at a player.
What?
It's something they really said.
What?
Absolutely.
Jalen, that would never happen. We are all journalists in this industry. We have very strict journalistic standards in which we adhere to, especially on this program, Jalen and Jacoby. Next, we have a tweet from Yvonne. Yvonne wants to know, should the NBA be doing more to promote the WNBA? I was thinking of possibly a co-ed game or a small tournament in May. Other ideas? Thank you so much for the tweet, Yvonne. I like the idea of more co-ed games like around All-Star Weekend. What do you think?
I wish I was in charge of marketing and promotions for both leagues because this seems like a layup how draconian it's been. The NBA has this multi-billion-dollar conglomerate where teams are doing so well, players' salaries have escalated, and they've totally left the WNBA behind.
Yep.
I appreciate the fact that NBA Live now has a feature where the women are included. That should happen during the NBA season. There's so many different ways to integrate that game into what's happening with the NBA and make it more popular. I think it will happen, but I'm disappointed that that's taken so long to actually take place.
And if you have never been to a WNBA game, I strongly encourage you to do so if you're a fan of the sport because it is a wonderful in-person experience. Next question we have is from Adia. Let's listen to the next voicemail.
Hey guys, it's Adia from Oklahoma. I love your show so much. My question is for Jalen. I'm definitely a Thunder girl. In fact, I'm a diehard and not a die easy like Jacoby. So just curious from you, what is it going to take for us to get back to where we were? All right, love you guys. Keep giving the people what they want.
I've talked about it recently on this program.
Give it to us.
Okay.
Give it to us.
I'm putting together the next super team.
Give it to me and Adia right now.
You have the MVP in Russell Westbrook, who just averaged a triple-double.
Yep.
You add Paul George, who's a top 10 player.
One of the best two-way players in the game.
Now, all of a sudden, I'm looking at a couple of all-star level players who don't have long-term contracts with their current teams. I'm not including Isaiah Thomas in this conversation for obvious reasons. Boogie Cousins comes to mind.
Okay.
And I would be willing clearly to give up Adams and or Cantor because in the NBA, clearly a salary cap driven sport, you're trading salaries. And or add a Carmelo Anthony to that equation. Now all of a sudden, you have a squad that's going to be in the top 4 in the West and can truly make some noise and be another market that we can celebrate in the current climate of the NBA.
Absolutely. I am rooting hard for the Thunder this year with the currently constructed roster or to improve upon that roster because last year the playoff performance it didn't feel worthy of Westbrook's season. I'm so excited for them to get better and better, but I am more excited for this.
Hi, my name is Chris from Tampa, and I was just watching First Take, and it was the top 50 black athletes of all time, and they didn't have Tiger Woods on there. Do y'all feel that he's the top 50 athlete of all time, or no?
So let me take you behind the curtain, Jalen Rose. You take me behind the curtain when it comes to all things that happen in professional athletics. Let me take you behind the curtain in all things that happen in sports media. Here's what you do when you put out a list like this. You say, notice all these lists always come out in July and August when there's not too much to talk about, is you put out a list like this and you are basically telling the world, please argue over this list. And sometimes, I'm not sure if this is the case in this time because I was not in the Undefeated's editorial meetings, sometimes you put a little Easter egg here and there or an omission or you rank someone higher than normal just so people disagree with it and talk about it and it leads to discussion around your website. It is a smart tactic. You know what I mean? It might be a little cheap, but it is a smart tactic. And you will notice as a Jalen and Jacoby supporter that we don't fall for these kind of tactics. I think that they put out a good list. I've read the article. I've digested the list. I thought they backed up all the points that they made very well. They already got in front of some of the counterpoints that you could make about it, and they kind of owned the discussion that way. But is Tiger Woods one of the best 50 black athletes? Of course. Like, no question. It's not even like, Jalen, is there any argument for why Tiger Woods would be omitted from that list?
There is no argument, but I do have some trepidation in another area with Tiger Woods. You got to do something with that hair. You got to do something with that hair.
No, I'll tell you what he did with the hair. If you don't have the hair, you make up for it with the body. You know, we saw the picture of him with the lobster. He's in great shape. You ever notice this? How dudes without hair have great hat game, or they have a really good beard game. Like, you always have to just compensate some other way, and he's compensated by hitting the gym.
Got to do something with that hair.
No, he doesn't. What would you suggest? Okay, let's say Tiger Woods calls your phone. It's probably some blocked number because you know how Tiger gets down. So it's a blocked number calls your phone. Sir. It's a blocked number. You pick it up, and he says, hey, it's Eldrick. That's what he calls himself. Hey, Jalen, it's Eldrick. It's E. That's what my friends call me, E. I heard Jalen and Jacoby because I listen to the podcast every single day, get people what they want, statues forever. What do you think I should do with my hair, Mr. Rose? If you've got you can point out the problem, be part of the solution.
Go bald immediately.
Really?
Do not pass go. Do not collect $200.
See, can I just speak about the bald haircut? Because eventually I'm going to get there. Because as Jalen Rose, my partner, has told me, my hairline is receding. It just seems like a lot of maintenance. Like, I shave my face every day. I know you don't know how to do that, but even that is kind of annoying. And then to shave your entire head, too, like, that's a 20-minute. That next thing you know, you're in John Cena territory.
See, I did mine in reverse. See, when I was in my late teens and 20s, I was rocking a bald head.
Famously.
A lot of times in the league, I was rocking a headband. You do a lot of traveling, can't always keep a fresh cut. So now, since I'm retired, as you just mentioned, I want to try to keep a crispy cut. And I'm trying to bring a normal Caesar and or fade back in style.
It's never out of style, Jalen. A normal fade is never out of style. There's never been a moment in time that a fade has been out of style, and that is why I wear my hair the same way for my entire life until I am dead. Let's listen to another voicemail.
Jalen and Jacoby, shout out. This is Diana from Sacramento. No fan of the Kings, but I am a fan of the King. So with all the LeBron and Kyrie accusations, who do you think is going to put it on wax first? It's leaving us fans in suspense. Is he out or is he staying? And who do you think is the best pickup for him? And last but not least, shout out Reg for the perfect timing on the shout out. Keep giving people what they want.
Thank you so much for the call. Sacramento, underrated city. Beautiful city. Great town hall, big clock tower. What do you think will happen with Kyrie.
And I want to also address the part about who do I think could put it on wax first. That's already happened. LeBron James has already done it.
How do you figure?
In particular, I mean, when we talked on the program recently about the tweet about never let somebody ride your wave.
Yeah.
That could have been aimed at a few people, which made it apropos. It could have been for David Griffin, the now fired GM.
Mm-hmm.
It could be for Lambeau, who continues to take shots and
ride the wave.
And it could be for Kyrie.
It's for Kyrie.
So, when I first saw it, I was like, first off, you riding somebody's wave. Max B. Like, a lot of people talking about who came with the wave, and whose lyric it is.
Waves, and now Jalen wants waves. LaDainian Tomlinson has waves.
$500 jeans and $1,000 sneaks.
Well, I really appreciate the call. Let's listen to another voicemail.
Hey, guys. It's Lindsay from Toronto. I just wanted to know if me and my boyfriend walked around the other day in Magic and Bird jerseys, and I wanted to know if that was a boss move or a soft move. By the way, I'm totally not going to shout out Reg just to get on the air. Anyways, thanks. My boyfriend loves you.
Boss move.
Thank you for the love.
Boss
Appreciate
move.
the shout. Boss move.
Boss move. If I saw a couple walking around in Larry Bird and Magic Johnson jersey, you know I don't talk to strangers, Jalen. You know I don't talk to anybody in the streets. I would ask them to take a picture with me. I would. That is a boss move.
That's what love looks like.
Yes.
Feels like.
Yes.
And sounds like.
Yes.
I appreciate them as a couple. I know for a fact they always are holding hands.
No doubt. No doubt. I'm gonna get Joey a Magic jersey just so we can do that.
That's a great idea. No, y'all gotta all wear Jimmy Butler jerseys from here on out.
Oh, that's right, the minivan man. Great point. Thank you so much for listening to the podcast, to all of our podcast listeners. We're going to take a couple days off. We are planning a big special fantasy football focused show for this Monday. We'll be back with our regularly scheduled programming
sellouts
next week.